Okay, so it looks like I've got everything set up right. So, with that, we'll now just give people a couple of minutes to see if they want to find us in the chat. Otherwise, we will get started here in just a moment with Shadowrun Returns. You know, I saw something on Twitter earlier that said that was from the D&D people, and they said, "How did you get started?" And I said, "Well, I was started when I was 12 and bought the original red box, and I've been playing some form of D&D for over 30 years now." So there you go. In that continuum, I branched out and found the cyberpunk, post-apocalyptic type of dystopian future games like Shadowrun primarily, and of course, cyberpunk as well. One of the reasons that I'm excited about the Cyberpunk 2077 coming out next year. On top of that, but Shadowrun was always the one that kind of it was my gateway. It was my gateway. So other than that, it was just this is just a blast to play, and I will try and pause because I only have one monitor. I only have space for one monitor right now, so bear with me. And I will pause periodically to check on the chat and see who might have dropped in to say hi while we're doing this. So anyway, with that being said, then let's get started. So let me crank up. We'll go back into Shadowrun because I turned the volume down from the game because I wanted people to be able to hear it. So I'm going to turn it up, but hopefully not too much. Let's see. There we go. That'll do, I think. And if anybody, does jump into chat and you find that you really have a hard time hearing the game or hearing me, post, and I will try and get to it as soon and or as best as I can. Otherwise, welcome everyone to the Stronghold. I am Chaotic Good Paladin, your host. And we are about to embark on one of my favorite adventures that's come out in the last few years. This is a little old, I will admit. Came out in 2013, but it's probably there's 3 games in this series. There's this one, then there's Shadowrun Dragonfall, then there is Shadowrun Hong Kong. But this is where it all started. By this little company called Harebraned Schemes. So we're going to jump in here, and we're going to start a new game. I went through and I deleted all my old saves anyway because I wanted to kind of get a fresh start. So from my standpoint, we're going to go new game. All right. The Dead Man switch is the primary campaign of the game, so we're going to go with that. Some of these other things that you see down here are additional content that you can download with the game that you can then play through. I have not gone through this one yet, but it's on my to-do list just for the simple fact that this was the first Shadowrun game, video game that I played, and I remember that very well. And that's an important point that will come up, and I will pause for a quick history lesson when we get to that point in the game. So anyway, we will say launch campaign. We're going to keep it normal just because even though this is not as twitchy as some games, I tend to just simply like, a level playing field. And off we go. Now, of course, with any role-playing game, we have character builder. So I'm going to make a female elf, and kind of for simplicity, I'm going to choose Street Samurai. The reason for that is it tends to make things a little easier at the beginning. Some of your stats are skewed a little bit better for survivability in terms of strength, in terms of your health, and I will go through some of the other ones. So, of course, in Shadowrun you have mages, and they're, as in most games, they are squishy. So you have to be a little more careful playing those. They take a little bit more finesse when playing. You have your deckers, which in this game are your computer geeks that can do things within the big world of the computer system called the Matrix. No relation to the movie, though. And then you have shamans, who are kind of like druids, nature spirits, just summoning spirits of any type, really, and things like that. As you can see. Shamans believe bear, cat, coyote, eagle, and they have totems and stuff like that. Riggers are basically drone controllers. They control robots and things like that in the game, and then use them to do stuff. Or you have what's called a physical adept. Basically, that's your monk class, if you're following along. And as you can see, key skill, chi casting. Yeah, that's pretty much in line with a monk. So, I can hear some of you rolling your eyes and saying, "But Chaotic, I know all this stuff already." Well, yes, okay, so you and I probably have played Shadowrun for years and years and years. But in the interest of some of the other people who might be joining chat, who might not have played Shadowrun, they might be Overwatch people or Fortnite people. It helps to give a little context so that they can kind of catch up with where we are. But like I said, in this particular case, I like Street Samurai because it makes things a little easier up front at the beginning, and you can add to, and we'll build her out a little bit better as we go through the game. So we're going to take the auto off, and we're going to make ourselves a custom avatar here in a minute, but let's pick our character portrait. No. Nah, too zombie-like. Shamanish. Oh my gosh, that's all I gotta choose from? Oof. Alright. Alright, I like that one because it's got the sword. Alright, we'll go with that. No. Do that. Mohawk. Okay, that could work. And we'll keep it silver. Not pink, though. That would be kind of cool. Alright, so we'll go with that, and we'll say continue stats. Yes, okay. So, unlike your typical point buy system when you're dealing with like AD&D, this uses what's called a karma point system, and that's how you improve your abilities. Doing good things throughout the game will give us karma and will allow us, this is how we're going to be able to build out our character and improve her over the course of the game. So we're going to start right here, and it just says karma represents the experience characters earn while running in the shadows. Karma is used to improve attributes, So the trick is, kind of like unlike a point buy where to go up by 1 it takes 1, like to go from a 3 to a 4 you actually have to take, or as it says, to go from a 4 to a 5 you have to take 5 karma points to go to that number 5 in whatever skill you're raising or stat you're raising. So that's the only thing we have to keep in mind as we spend some of this stuff. So continue. So this is why I said Street Samurai is a good starting point. You know, you basically have 40 hit points. That's what your body of 4 is. Quickness of 3. We'll get to some of the weapons here in a minute. And a strength of 3. So you have better proficiency with throwing weapons. You know, you even start with 1 in throwing weapons. You're not as intelligent, but you know, and these are to go back to Dungeons and Dragons for a minute. So as you can see right here, we've got BD for body, QU for quickness, ST for strength, IN for int, WI for wisdom, and then CH for charisma. So these are your 6 here, unlike the strength, dex, con, int, wiz, and charisma in Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, so charisma is going to be super valuable. Let's see, we are an elf, so we should get a boost to the base charisma, and let's see, we might already have that boost. Okay, so here's where things break down. The way things break down here. So, quickness or your dexterity. You know, this gives you ranged combat, and then here are your different weapons under ranged combat: pistol, you know, submachine gun, shotgun, rifle, and then it also affects your dodge ability. You know, strength. You know, close combat. This is where you get to melee weapons and unarmed combat. And then you can throw things. You know, grenades. You know, hit it with a thrown grenade. Intelligence, decking or rigging. We're going to need this, but for right now, it's good to leave it here. Biotech gives you extra bonuses when you use a med kit, so that's very important. And then willpower 2. That's going to be kind of our dump stat because we're not going to do anything with magic. You know, we could, but really, you know, we need the karma in other places. So the main thing we do for charisma is, see how it says new etiquette. Etiquettes will come in handy, and you'll see what I mean as we get into the game. Otherwise, charisma is also used for shamans for summoning and conjuring their spirits and totems. So, but we will not bring our charisma up to 4 because that only gives us 1 karma left. So what we will do is we will come up here under, let's see, we will leave ranged combat at 1, but we will take 1 in pistol, and then we will come down here, and for biotech we will take 2 in biotech, and then we will take 1 in shotgun. I like shotguns. So now we've spent our karma points to start with, and we say confirm. Now choose an etiquette. Here's the ones you get to choose from: corporate, security, gang, socialite, shadowrunner, street, or academic. It's been a while since I've started this game. Trying to think what I might need. Let's pick security, and we'll start there. Believe me when I say that this is, you will see how useful etiquettes are as the game progresses. Now we need a name. For a female street samurai like this, one name that I tend to like to use is Lady Hawk. And the E is important because if you kept up with the news, actor Rutger Hauer, who played in Blade Runner and several other things, Split Second, and also played in a movie called Lady Hawk. And Very good movie. It was him, Matthew Broderick, and I cannot think of Melanie Griffith. Melanie Griffith, I believe, was the female lead. Anyway, go IMDb it, and if it looks interesting, give it a view, because it was a very interesting movie, I think. So we'll go with Lady Hawk, and we will say confirm. Oop. And now we're off to the races. All right, loading it up, down and out. Your apartment, 3 o'clock in the morning. It sounds kind of like us streamers. It's got 4 walls, a roof, and it isn't on fire. Even the cockroaches have fled in search of better accommodations. Not exactly a runner's dream pad. But right now, it's about all you got left. Running the shadows is all about feast or famine. One day you're Nova hot, working jobs that allow you to eat at 5-star restaurants. Next, well, you're here. This one's a famine for the ages. Slagging fixer hasn't called, the money's run out, and then some. Sinless and free. Free to starve in the cracks of a society run by megacorps who just want your nuyen. Something needs to change, and soon. Yeah, your apartment, 2054. It's 3 a.m. and you got nowhere to go but down. Alright, so the interface here is a little, might take a little getting used to, but we have these things we can look at. Slip of paper with your bank at balance, enough to cover you through the end of the week. Alright. And we'll look here. Your notebook, calendar, contacts, that kind of thing. Here your list of contacts. This list is sad, dried up. Carter, Detroit, fixer, no response. Dowd, runner, dead. Felton Nash, fixer, missing. New Larry, runner, dead. Sam Watts, runner, no idea, probably in a gutter somewhere. Sangoma, runner, dead. Halfjack, dealer, retired or dead. The list goes on, all either dead ends or just plain dead. View your personal calendar. It's empty, nothing to do. Put down your notebook. Oh, we have a call. Let's go here. Sam Watts, look. The screen leaps to life, making you squint against its brightness. The face on the screen is laughing. Sam Watts. Hey, buddy. Hope I didn't catch you at a bad time. He giggles. He's drunk again. Or worse. So, this is going to be, unfortunately, a text-based game. But, in this particular case, again, once we get into the storyline, it starts to play out like this noir detective thing. You'll see what I mean in a minute. But I always like to use the, where have you been, Sam? I haven't heard from you in months. Click. Another giggle. Oh, don't bother with your side of the conversation. I'm not really here. Just one reason for this vid. Someone finally geeked me. I'm dead. Probably had it coming. When you're an unsavory character like myself, you tend to associate with other unsavory characters who often partake in unsavory business. Like you, for example. So, why am I dead? Who knows? Probably my fault. I wonder where you are right now. I bet you hit a big payday and you're living high on the hog somewhere. Some of us are born winners and some of us are me. Hey, you remember that Renraku run when things went to hell and we lost Dowd? Or that makeshift saloon on the docks afterwards? I really had your back that night, didn't I? Dowd. That's a name you haven't heard in a long time. So, as with most games, there is a tutorial. Most of this is intuitive, obviously. However, combat needs a little bit of getting used to. So, 3 years ago, a makeshift bar on the Seattle docks. The night Dowd went down. New Larry, there's you. Sangoma, and then that's Sam. New Larry. You've been running with New Larry for about 6 months now. He's a combat mage with a bad tattoo and a bad attitude. He knew Dowd almost as well as you did. Dowd. Never saw anybody die like that before. Idiot. He shakes his head. I hate this fragging city, Lady Hawk. It's wet and the rain feels like acid and I want out of here. So I'm just going to say, I get it. Now take a pill and relax. Sure, Lady Hawk, sure. Whatever you say. I don't know, Lady Hawk. Sam is a good guy and can hold his own in a fight, but he's been hitting the bottle pretty good lately. Never on a run, so far, but he needs watching. He shakes his head. That run went sideways 9 ways to Sunday. Now the fixer is late. Smell funny to you? Hell yeah, it smells funny. Look at where he set the meeting. This is supposed to be a public place. Got the dreck, Sam. We both know why Dowd went down, and it wasn't the fixer or some other paranoid chip dream of yours. Sam smiles a toothy... Words are hard. Sam's smiles a toothy smile. I've been waiting for this all night. Knew Larry has something he wants to say. Don't you, Larry? Go ahead. Spill it. You were sloppy. He laughs. Sloppy? You think I was sloppy? You've been twitchy all day, son. Look at your hands. They're shaking. I'm going to say, that true, Sam? Did you miss a beat back there? No, Lady Hawk. I didn't miss a beat. I was on my game the whole time. Remember, I was on point. Knew Larry was supposed to cover Dowd. Something dawns on him. He leans into New Larry, amused and dangerous. We were set up, and he knows it. Don't you, Larry? What was that call you made before we hit Renraku? How come you couldn't geek that guy before he unloaded on Dowd? I've seen you fling a lightning bolt, son. He should have been burnt toast before his gun cleared the holster. New Larry checks his watch, licks his lips, looks over your shoulder at the darkness. He's looking for someone, and it's not the fixer. Okay, I can see where this is going. You chummers are damaged. I'm out. Huh. How much did they pay you to sell us out, Larry? He stops and a smile slowly appears on his face. Honestly, it didn't take much. Just enough to get me back to Portland and set up with a Cush Corp job. I'm out of this racket. We got incoming! New Larry relaxes and throws you a dreck-eating grin. Looks like my new Renraku friends are finally here. They're going to take that hard drive off your corpse, buddy. We should choose our friends more carefully, Lady Hawk. Buy you a drink after this? You'll owe me several. Yep. Okay. So, Larry, little twerp. Okay. Yep, turn-based combat. You are now in turn-based combat. Each character in your action team has an action pool. Spend these actions on movement attacks or using spells and items. Once your team's turn is complete, the enemy team will move and attack. Additional tutorial will be given, available from the reference guide. Yeah, okay. You'll get the idea in a second once we start going through this. Alright. So, now, so this represents the area you can move in one action. So one of the things you definitely want to do in this game is get behind cover. So I'm going to move up. Now, we're going to move Sam. See if we can move Sam here. We can shoot him. Now, and also, as you're doing this, if you go out past that, that's where they can move it. They use their entire action pool. So we'll draw it back in for a second. We're going to shoot him. And he dies. He had that coming. Yes, yes he did. So we're going to move back here with Sangoma. And then we got these two guys to deal with. Alright. I got a shotgun. Okay, and I got a pistol. I'd rather keep the shotgun. And there you go. Alright. Now Sam can advance and blast him. Nicely done. Alright. And we'll just move up there. Okay, now we got more incoming from the other side. Alright. So we will move up here. And we will shoot him. Ah, too far away. Okay. Let's move Sam back this way. Be a little harder for him to hit. We'll see if we can shoot him. And he's down. Ah, yeah. This is bad. They have a shaman. Speaking of. Ow. That height. Okay, forgot. Reload. The good news is, in this game, you don't have to worry about your ammo, but you do have to worry about reloading. Now here, we're going to open our items. She doesn't have anything. Haste. And that takes care of him. Now, let's move over here. Alright, Sam. Oh. Confirm. Ah, there, okay. Now. We'll move Sangoma over here. Ow. Oof. Aha. That's handy. There we go. Alright. So, Sangoma lowers her eyes. Lowers her gun. Eyes. Sam. You okay, Sam? Sam's breathing is heavy and he looks shaken. That was a hell of a thing. Trying to think. Which one should we say? Let's say you don't look part of the life, Sam. You know that. You were born for this gig, Lady Hawk. Me? Not so much. I think I'm gonna hang it up. Find a nice brothel somewhere. Stay drunk until I croak. What about you? I'll find a safe house out of town. Lay low. Renraku has a long memory. I do too. I don't forget my friends. And so that's basically how combat's going to work in this game. You stare at Sam's face on your comlink. Shake off the memory. Focus. I had your back that night, didn't I? Now, I'm asking myself, who would care if I die? Who would give a rat's... Better or worse, your name is at the top of the list. Maybe it's the only name on the list. So, I set up a dead man switch to send you this call. I got a 100,000 Nuyen insurance policy, payable when you find who creased me, alive with a conviction or in a body bag with justification. Either works. Contact my law firm, Rogers, Mengert, and McCain, when the job is done. They'll know what to do. He turns to his left. Jet? Lawyer. The camera swivels to show a well-dressed man sitting next to Sam. Pursuant to Mr. Watts's wishes, Rogers, Menninger, and McCain has installed a secure, dedicated phone line so you may contact us directly when the task is complete. We will then begin a verification process. Note that you must also be on a secure landline to access this number. We will not accept transmissions from comlinks or other devices. The camera swivels back to Sam. Sam straightens up. Talks seriously. First time. Look, Lady Hawk. I've led a Drek life, and I've probably left a Drek corpse. I've hurt people, hurt myself. I don't know. Maybe I just want the last word. Maybe I just want someone to give a crap that I sucked air for a while. What do you say? I'll get to the bottom of this. Someone will pay. Hope you just said yes. Well, kinda had no choice. Otherwise, we'd be a really short game here. I've got a locator chip slotted in my head these days. When my heart stops, it'll activate. That's how you'll find me. See you on the slab. Well, rest in peace, Sam. See you in Seattle. Alright, the dead man switch. Your plane hits the SeaTac tarmac with a jolt. Welcome to Seattle. The chilly northwest rain obscures your vision as you step onto the tarmac. Before long, you're sitting in the cramped back seat of a cab, following the signal from Sam's locator chip into the heart of the Redmond Barrens. Organ grinders, a legal chop shop for body parts, whether from the living or the dead. If you're hurting bad enough for Nuyen, this is the place to sell a limb or an organ. It's also a good place to dispose of an inconvenient body while making a little cash on the side. This franchise is the closest thing the Barrens has to a morgue. It seems this is where Sam Watts' body has ended up. You open the door and are assaulted by the smell of death and bleach. Alright. At this point, I will pause, and I'm going to bounce back over and see who, if anybody, we may have in the chat with us. And it looks like we are all okay. Anyway, back to the game then. Boop. Foop. Alright. Alright. So, new objective. Ask the coroner about Sam Watts. Yeah. I'm in the back. The smell of death and decomposition wash over you, only slightly masked by the minty fake fresh of industrial-grade antiseptic. Okay. So, now we talk to Dresden. Hovering over the recently departed is a small dwarf, whistling a tune. His broad grin says, "I love my job." A little more than you'd want or expect from someone in the chop shop trade. As you approach, he looks up with a lopsided grin. There's something kindly in his eyes. though it might just be a stray reflection of chrome and surgical tools. Dresden. Sorry, didn't expect any visitors at this hour, and some at corporate took my receptionist. What can I do for you, ma'am? Are you the coroner? I'm John Dresden, the Organ Grinders branch manager here, so yeah, that makes me this franchise area's coroner too. And you are? Ladyhawk, I'm here about Sam Watts. His grin fades. And what makes you think I know anything about that? Sam had a locator chip embedded in his skull. I followed it here. I see. Well, you're right. He's here. Not too many people know about the murder yet, though. The press haven't caught wind of it yet, what with it being all the way out here in the Barrens. So who told you he was dead? Sam's digital ghost. When his heart stopped, I got sent a recorded message asking me to bring his killer to justice. Guess he had a hunch. The dwarf raises his eyebrows, a smile wiping the suspicion from his face. A dead man's switch, eh? Fascinating. I was working on him earlier. He's over there. Here. Oops. English is hard. Okay. We'll talk again. He's my second Emerald City Ripper victim. The third one was downtown. Emerald City Ripper? He sighs. Not my title. That's what the Seattle Press insists on calling the killer. All I know is that, like the original Jack, our Ripper knows how to handle a scalpel. But this one's even more twisted. He or she always removes an internal organ from the victim. What prize did the Ripper take from Sam? Watts's liver was cleanly cut out. How about the other lucky contestants? The first victim's heart was missing, and the third had their spleen removed.
Dresden, get out here!
I need to work on my orc voice.
I'm here about the new Ripper Vic, Sam Watts.
Towering over the diminutive coroner is a homicide detective right out of Central Casting. If you ignore the tusks, pointed ears, and Neanderthal brow, you can smell his cheap aftershave from a mile away.
So, this new Ripper Vic, Watts, name's familiar. Didn't his mother kill herself a while back?
The coroner frowns. So you insisted at the time? He chortles.
Come on, she offed herself. I had it on very good authority. Now let's go, Dresden. Give me something to work with here. This Ripper case is my ticket to a lieutenant's badge.
I've already posted everything I know. The killer stuns the target with a combination of drugs and magic, then removes a single internal organ while they're still alive. The perpetrator is most likely right-handed, with a slim hand that knows its way around a scalpel. Has a decent understanding of human and metahuman anatomy, too.
So, I'm looking for a whacked-out surgeon?
Not necessarily. I don't know any surgeons who still use scalpels anymore. These days it's all done with computer-controlled lasers. Could be anyone from a military field surgeon to an antique medicine aficionado.
You're no damn help, dwarf.
The Lone Star Detective finally notices you. You note his superhuman powers of observation. Again, some of the dialogue points in this, you're going to, if you're like me, you're going to find this really, really just spot on in certain places. And this is one of them.
Who the hell are you?
I'm the nobody who didn't hear nothing. I'm new in town. You're the welcoming committee? If I had the strength of 4, none of your business, lumpy. Anyway, so I'm just going to go with I'm the nobody who didn't hear nothing, because this is probably not something that he would want repeating or getting around. I'm the nobody who didn't hear nothing.
That's right. And if you ever do hear something, I'll knock it right out of your head.
He looks back at the dwarf.
Dresden, get me more. I am putting someone in a cell or a box this week and claiming my promotion.
Dresden looks amused. Do you always make friends that easily? Huh. Well, he didn't really seem like my type. He cocks his head to one side. Be straight with me. You really gonna work for the dead man? Sam was there when I needed him. I'm going to return the favor. Fascinating again. Detective McCluskey isn't interested in anything but Detective McCluskey. He'd convict his own mother if it meant another $10 million a week in his paycheck. Plus, he's on the take. Dresden pauses, considering. You have honor, after a fashion. I try to honor the dead in my work, so we have that in common. What can I do to help you? So, now we get to go and play, 20 questions here. On the take, who's paying to hold his leash? I don't know, but someone with some major pull has been looking out for McCluskey's career and wallet. What was that McCluskey said about Sam's mother? The official report is that she committed suicide about a year ago. Sounds like you disagreed with the findings. My name's on the report, but my actual findings left some doubts. I can't say that it was suicide, but there were unusual bruises on her upper arms, and she didn't use her dominant hand to pull the trigger. I was told to drop it, so I dropped it. What are organs worth these days? A whole healthy body can be worth a bunch of $1 million, but individual organs, well, not worth as much anymore, what with all the synth and cyber stuff on the market these days. Organ Grinders only deals in the recently deceased. There's plenty of other chop shops that aren't as picky, though, and they don't care where the bodies come from either. Who still uses scalpels? Doctors still learn how to use them in their first year of medical school, as do coroners, but neither profession uses them much anymore. It's possible some of the slimier chop shops still use scalpels, I suppose, but I wouldn't know where to look. I just need to know one more thing. Where was Sam killed? Dresden looks up at you, intently for a moment before speaking. You know, I might be able to do you one better. Why don't you poke around those body lockers in the back and see if you find anything useful? Okay then, I'll go do that. Alright. Alright. I'm going to pause here for a moment, and here is the history lesson that I was telling you was coming. Alright? I'm going to try and keep it quick. So, way back when the original Shadowrun game was out on the Super Nintendo, the way it started out was, you were on the street, some gangers come up, shot you, left you for dead. You start out with no knowledge of who you are, or why people even wanted you dead. And even you had to figure out who you were first. And you basically came up with a name. Jake Armitage. And then the rest of the game was you figuring out what you got involved in to get you shot. And it was rather twisty and turny, and it was actually very fun to go through. Even with the Super Nintendo's limited graphics at the time. So there's a reason why that is coming up right now, because of what's about to happen. The cold storage drawer is labeled John Doe, but the internal thermostat is set to 21 degrees Celsius. Open the drawer, of course. The cold storage drawer opens to reveal the fully clothed body of a man, arms folded across his chest. In addition to sporting some of the brightest orange hair you've ever seen, the body seems to be in very good condition. Whoa, easy there. And as you can see, that right there, my friends, Jake Armitage, is who you just pulled out of the morgue drawer. That right there, that right there is the kind of stuff that me, who loves little nods to stuff, just at that point I was like, sold. Doesn't matter what happens anymore. Tell me your story. Let's go. In one quick move, he jumps down from the drawer and stands before you. For someone who just woke up in a morgue locker, he seems unfazed and pretty well put together. There's a good reason. You spot a data jack drilled into his temples and some shamanistic tattoos peeking above his collar. An interesting combination. Oh yes, it was, believe me. I told John to wake me up at 6 in the morning. Is it 6 yet? It doesn't feel like 6 yet. Sorry. Sorry, didn't expect you to be so alive. Yeah, Dresden thinks he's pretty funny. You're not the first person who's pulled this one on. He chuckles. Well, so much for a good night's sleep. On the plus side, I notice you haven't killed me yet, so that's good. If you aren't after me, then what's your story? I'm looking into the death of Sam Watts. The coroner seems to think you can help me out. Sam, eh? Glad somebody cares. We used to drink together every now and then over at the Union. Decent enough guy. Always in trouble over something or other, though. Sounds like Sam. Jake yells toward the other side of the room. John, is this lady cool? Yeah, she's on the level. Working for Sam, believe it or not. Some sort of dead man's switch. I thought you could help her out. Maybe even stop moping around the shop all day. Again, these dialogue exchanges sometimes just... Thanks for volunteering me. He pauses. Might be sizing you up, but it's hard to tell behind those shades. Alright then. Name's Jake, and you are... Call me Lady Hawk. Nice to meet you. Well, sounds like you're taking a dive into the deep end here. John's right. I might be able to help you out. I was with Sam the other night. The night of the murder. Poor guy. He was hanging at the Seamstresses Union that night, tripped out and rowdy. I'd been laying low there for a few days after a bad run. Mrs. Kubota asked me to throw Sam out, so I did. But out in the alley, some gangers got the jump on me. He winces. Damn. Maybe I need some soy cap after all. John, could you grab me a cup? Get your own damn cup. My hands are dirty anyway. Now what's wrong with his intestines? You hear a loud squelching sound as Dresden continues his work. Thanks, John. You're a real pal. Anyway, there's a big fat corp bounty on my head. Like I said, my last job didn't exactly go according to plan. Out in the alley, a few Halloweeners got the jump on us. Damn gangers thought they could turn a quick profit off my head. Jake smiles, and you get the impression that didn't work out too well for the gangers. Sam stumbled off during the fight, though, and that's the last I saw of him. Until he turned up here, dead on arrival. Reminds me of my last stay in this place. You've done this before? It's a long story. I end up in the morgue more often than the average guy. Yeah, Jake here's a regular. Should have started a rewards card, Jake. A few more visits and you'd get a free night's stay. Jake laughs. I'll hold you to that, John. Anyway, they found Sam's body less than a block away from the Union, missing liver and all. Tell you what, you look like you can handle yourself in a fight. I could use some backup to settle the score with those Halloweeners out there. Their leader's got the whole gang searching the barrens for me. I need to get rid of that. In return, I'll take you to the place Sam was murdered. It's not safe to hit these streets alone at night, trust me. Jake eyes you up and down. And maybe I'll throw in some decent supplies while we're at it. What do you say? I do like a little bit of street justice every now and then. Alright, Jake, count me in. Great. I've been hiding out here ever since that run-in with those Halloweeners. Whiny bunch of gangers. But this stretch of the Barrens is their turf. Hell, I'm surprised you even made it to this morgue in one piece without packing some heat. He yells over his shoulder. Very funny, Jake. You can sleep in the dumpster tomorrow. So, you need a weapon? Give me a pistol. My weapon of choice as well. Here, take this one. So, ready for an evening out on the town? If you're buying. Hey, I've already provided the party favors. We can leave whenever you're ready. So, first thing, let's just collect a couple of things around here. We'll get that, and I will explain some of these. There's a med kit. I'll come over here. Want to get this stuff. Another med kit. And we're going to examine Sam. Sam's body is half covered by a sterile surgical sheet. His face an ashen white. For the first time, without a smirk on it. Below the chest, there's a small pencil-thin incision covered in dried blood. Beyond that, the corpse is immaculate. It would seem that the killer knew exactly what they wanted from him, and took it. Next to Sam are several plastic envelopes containing the evidence found on his body. You can examine an evidence through the bag without spoiling it. Look at the business card first. Moving things around, you can make out that it's a card from a place called the Seamstresses Union. There is something handwritten on the back, but blood has made it illegible. Look at the cred stick. It's a standard, cheap, unsecured cred stick. No way of knowing what's on it without slotting it. Take that. You slot the cred stick into your PDA and get 300 new yen. Look at the purple shirt. It's Sam's shirt. Several of the buttons are missing and blood has thoroughly soaked it. The bag sloshes a bit in your hand. Look at the handwritten note. You can only see parts of the note given the torn off bits and bloodstains. Sam, I feel terrible that we have been long to say I'm sorry. See you there. Love, Jessica. Put down the evidence bag. Alright. So, with that, we're going to take a moment. We're going to save. Save game. Create new save. Save. Game saved. And we're going to go here. And we are going to go here. And we're going to check on things. Alrighty then. And back to the stream we go. Okay. Alright. So. Head out into the Barrens? Yup. The Redmond Barrens. Run into the Seattle sprawl and sooner or later you'll find yourself in the Redmond Barrens. Doesn't matter your business, the Barrens doesn't like you. Take 1 part radioactive wasteland, 3 parts dog-eat-dog slum, add a dash of tourist trap, and you got a recipe for mean as hell. You leave the sanitized death and formaldehyde of organ grinders behind, entering the anarchy and desperation of the streets. Jake stops a moment to breathe deeply, filling his lungs with motorcycle exhaust, radioactive dust, cordite, and who knows what else. He exhales with an expression of wry contentment. The stench and grime tell him he's home. Okay, now, if you look right here, you'll see this little, this little arrow thing in your HUD. That kind of points you in the direction you need to head, though it's not always the most accurate and readable of indicators. Does the bus stop here? Looking for a date? Elves are my favorite. Hidden in the garbage thrown alley is a high-tech safe with a mag card reader on the front. Open the safe. With a smooth hiss, the safe opens to reveal a collection of gear that is a perfect match for your skills. You take the gear. I'll send this item to the stash. We got 3 already. I said... so we got 2 grenades and we got another med kit. So I'm going to send this one to the stash. Confirm. Ah, look. We get our first action already. Hand over the loot, bozos. Ka! Useless. Alright, fine. And he's down. Call that shooting. There we go. That was easy and quick. Jay. So, welcome to the Barrens. Guess I'll need to find a new spot to hide my gear. Good dead drops are so hard to keep. He chuckles. Well, at least they were too dumb to break my maglock. Now that you got some gear, let's go deal with those Halloweeners. Alrighty. Just keeping a check on... Wow, I've been playing for an hour already. Okay, let's talk to this guy. Sometimes you can get quests from other guys. The man before you appears well-mannered but nervous. Excuse me, ma'am. I don't know you, but you look like you can handle yourself in a fight, and we need some help. Calm down. How can I help? Thank you. Some thugs are shaking down the market we've set up here. It's been getting worse lately. I don't think we can afford to pay them forever, but no one will stand up to them, and Lone Star isn't about to get involved. If it's on my way, maybe I can help. Oh, thank you. It's just down the street, ma'am. Please, our livelihoods depend on this market. See? Her clothes may be dirty, but this woman is far from downtrodden. Hey, not that it's my business, but I wouldn't go that way. Why? What's going on? Just some Halloweeners stirring up trouble again. She points to the south. They rode in this morning on those fancy bikes, set up camp in the old street market. They've been marching up and down the street all day, shaking down anyone that wanders past. Typical. Well, odds are those are the guys we're after. Now, we'll tell Sarah, you might want to clear out before the shooting starts. She looks you over, then nods. Don't need to worry about me. I know how to lay low. They're a tough bunch, though. Don't say I didn't warn you. Yeah. Let's see. Ah, yeah. Halloweener sentry. Hey, take another step forward and we are going to plant you right there. This is Halloweener property now. This is one of the two that got away. If I hadn't missed my shot, these idiots would have given up and moved on by now. Wait a minute. You rolling with Jake? Bad idea, chummer. The Halloweeners are collecting that bounty and killing you? Well, that's a nice bonus. And here we go again. So much for the mage. Let's see. Sheesh. And that's one down.
You're dead, Jake. Dead!
This ends now. Whoa, Uncle, I was just playing with you. I'll call out the rest of the Halloweenists, Jake. Call it even, yeah? What do you think, Jake? Dirtbags like you don't need second chances. Oh, Drek. Yep. And we're done. Alright. Right on. Okay. So with that taken care of, now I can talk to some other people. First, we're going to use some of our new yin on Dan the Donut Man here. The smell of fried food, powdered sugar, and slightly burned soy calf is almost enough to overpower the dusty sewage stench of Redmond streets. The troll working the stand is covered in food stains, older than he is.
What can I get you, chumma?
10 new yin, I'll take a jelly donut and a soy calf.
Enjoy.
We'll come back to him and talk in a minute. There's a reason you picked that up. Dr. Bobby here. Hey, chummer. Got some tasty morsels for you. Just what every well-dressed Shadowrunner should have in her back pocket. Let's see what you have. We have stems. Kamikaze. A stem that increases body by 2, strength 1, and willpower 1 for 5 rounds. Or Nitro, strength and willpower plus 2, charisma and intelligence minus 2 for 5 rounds. We'll take the Kamikaze. Alright, my stash is fine. Okay. And as you see right here, there's the Seamstresses Union. That was on the business card that we found in Sam's pocket. Now, you'll see why we need that soy calf and a donut. Because we got to get over here. As you approach the scene of Sam's murder, Jake spies the flashing red and blue lights up ahead. Oh, hold up a minute. Lone Star isn't above collecting on a corp-issued bounty, and the one on my head isn't going away anytime soon. He sighs. Sorry, friend. I think this is where our paths diverge. Thanks again for the help with those Halloweeners. Here's your payment. They don't take Nuyen where I'm going, and you look like you could use the funds. Likewise, Jake. Give me a call when you're in the clear. Yeah, sure. He starts to leave, then tilts his head back. Hey, one more thing. When you're done checking out your pal's crime scene, pop into the Seamstresses Union. It's just down the street. You need gear, information, or just a stiff drink? That's the place to be. Best dive this side of Chicago. I used that place as a base of operations for years back in the day. Make the right friends there, I'm sure you'll get to the bottom of this Ripper business. Well, nice knowing you. Jake turns and disappears into the shadowy depths of the Redmond Barrens. It's supposed to be the shadowy depths. Okay, and now with that we move on. Talk to William here. The bright yellow police tape cuts through the darkness, directing your eyes to the white chalk outline and dark red stain marking the slab of pavement where Sam Watts died. Standing at the entrance to the alley is a Lone Star officer. The cop looks cold, hungry, and irritated at the homeless man who's currently pestering him. I keep telling you, I need to get my stuff from the alley or I'm going to die in the cold tonight. The officer sighs. And I've been trying to explain to Yule that this is an official Lone Star investigation and I can't let anyone in here. Hey, I got rights. Look, you sinless garbage, I got a job to do. Find a new blanket or I'll find a reason to use my stun baton. Typical. I hate all you pigs. He looks in your direction. Now what? So, now this is where you start getting into some of the fun stuff. You can just either say, the coroner of Dresden sent me over. Lie, I'm here to check the site for spectral DNA. Use the items that we brought. Long night, huh? You look cold, so I picked up a donut and some soy calf for you. Bribe 100 Nuyen. Meet my friend, Mr. Credstick. We just need a few minutes to look around. Or, etiquette security. What, they didn't radio you? Damn, operator's probably asleep again. I'm here to take over your shift. You can head back to base. So, any one of these will work, hopefully, to get you access to the actual murder site itself. Since we have the donut and the soy calf, let's use that because that's a little bit more nice to do. Hey, thanks! The officer's face lights up as he takes a sip. He seems pretty trusting for an officer of the law. You know, when my dad was a cop, this was back when cops actually worked for the government, he said folks would buy him coffee all the time, but I ain't seen it till now. So, what can I do for you? Let's see. My pleasure. I'm here from Internal Affairs to review the forensics guys' work to find anything they might have missed. Sure, dig in. I certainly wouldn't mind those guys getting taken down a peg or two. Man, do they put on airs, if you know what I mean. And then there he goes. So, we'll do that, but we'll talk to William again first, just because. The streets have not been kind to this man, but they've also hardened him. This man is clearly a survivor, though one wrestling with the onset of age and arthritis. You! I saw you over there with that rat bastard cop. What do you want? Know anything about the murder that took place here? He squints at you, suspicious. You a copper? Or working for some corp? Nope. I'm as sinless as you. Mind answering a few questions? Hey, what makes you think I'm sinless? Ha! Just messing with you. Of course I'm sinless. System ID number my... What kind of questions you got? Did you see the murder? Nope. And I can't say I'm sorry I missed it. I was hauling crates for Mrs. James up at the market. Can't carry as many as I used to, so it took a while. Got back here in time to see a couple of tourists puking all over my home turf. By then, that jerkface in the uniform had already set up shop in my alley. What else did you see that night? Well, you know, earlier in the night, I saw a big and ugly troll in green hospital scrubs snooping around the block. He bought some donuts and 2 cups of soy calf off of Dan over there. Seemed nervous, and he did everything with his left hand, 'cause his right was all screwed up with some cyberware. Can you tell me more about the troll cyberware? Well, it was big, and I think it must have had some hospital attachments because I saw some needles. It looked a lot like the one I saw back in 44 when I got captured by elves. They did all sorts of experiments on me. Let me tell you, never trusted one of them cyber people. So, it sounds like you live in this alley? Sure. For the last couple of months I've been sleeping there. But I spend my days out doing odd jobs for the street merchants or panhandling tourists over near the Seamstresses Union. That's all I needed to know, thanks. See you around. Alright, now, get into the murder site. So, first thing, search here. This looks like the coat and blanket that the old man was trying to get back. Pick up the coat and blankets. As you pick up the bundle of cloth, a printed receipt falls out from beneath the folds of the blanket. It's a bar tab receipt from the Seamstresses Union, dated 2 days ago at 3:02 a.m. Right around the corner's reported time of death. Customer, Sam Watts. The server's name is listed as Coyote. Okay. Look at this here. Amidst the shards of glass from the broken lights, you find a small piece of glass which looks like the bottom of a test tube. Okay. Look at this next. This work light is new. You can see that all of the alley's normal lights have been ruined. Upon closer inspection, it seems that they've all imploded, as if some force shattered them all at the same time. Is Sounds suspicious to me. There are two distinct sets of footprints, a human's ending at the chalk outline and a larger set, possibly orc or troll, following just behind the first. Okay. Now, let's go give William his stuff back. Hey there, young'un. I think this coat and blankets belong to you. My stuff! Mighty decent of you. Don't see that kind of thing too often out here. And so with that... Okay, we can't exit that. We can only exit this side. Okay. With that, we will now... The dwarf merchant is packing up her stand for the night. I'm closed. Come back tomorrow. You've got a great view of that alley across the street. Don't suppose you saw the murder that happened there? She grunts. Sure. I was closing up when I heard a series of explosions from behind the Union. A couple seconds later, this guy comes out, runs across the street. Didn't get a good look at him. Then all the lights in the alley exploded all of a sudden. Things got pretty quiet after that. And let me guess, you didn't go running over to see if that guy was okay? Heck no! Round here, that kind of thing gets you killed. Thank you for your time. No problem. Alright. Alright. Now, as you can see, this has changed to an icon of we can go in there. This is the best place to party. Alright, we're going to transition, go into the Seamstresses Union. We leave the Barrens and enter the Seamstresses Union. Would you like to proceed? Confirm. Yep. Alright. The Seamstresses Union. Relative to the rest of the Barrens, Touristville is a neon-clothed oasis. At its heart is the Seamstresses Union, housed in an old brownstone building on the corner of Illegal and Opportunity. Bums huddle together, gangsters strut the streets, and the occasional salaryman comes slumming. The Union building has been retrofitted, rebuilt, and restored so many times that it's like an aging starlet wearing too much makeup in an attempt to stay young. The wild ivy growing out of the gutters adds to this effect. As you enter, the murmur of hushed conversation washes over you. The dive bar denizens raise their heads, take your measure, and then go back to their business. This is the kind of place where everyone knows your name, but keeps to themselves. Continue. Alright. Now we got to find and question Coyote. But first, let's spend some karma. Look, we have gotten 8 karma already. Yeah, let's spend some karma. First things first. Boost our charisma. Get a new etiquette there. Let's pick Shadowrunner and go from there. And then at this point, let's raise pistol. Oh, I have to go ranged combat one up first. Now I can do that, and we'll do that with pistol. Alright. Confirm. Okay, now let us save the game. Because this is a role-playing game, it is one of those you need as many saves as you can. Alright. Now. Cherry Bomb. Heh. The bartender is a striking elf sporting a perfectly toned body, perfectly pouty lips, and perfectly tapered ears. Her eyes harmonize save me and take me in equal measure, hitting just the right notes for the maximum extraction of tips. She looks at you, sees another elf, and smiles big. Hey there! I haven't seen you here before. What can I get you? For whatever reason, I don't understand, I always read Cherry as having a kind of a bit of a New York-ish kind of accent. And there's a couple of dialogue places where it kind of like, yeah, that works when you say it with that kind of a New Yorkish accent. Granted, my New York accent is rather bad. I know. Yes, I know. Stop judging me. I know. Now, out of all of these, first thing is, I always like to say, something dirty in a clean glass. Ooh, a hard case. I like that. Okay, hard case. I'll get you something stiff. She starts to turn away when a man with the face of a survivor and the zeal of a convert tugs at her arm. Hard. It's clear the two have a history. They try to keep their voices low, but the intensity of their conversation makes them easy to overhear. Cherry, you have to listen to me. If you stick around here, you could end up dead or worse. The Ripper is out there, and he's real. That last killing happened just down the block. And now Coyote's missing. They'll probably find her tomorrow in a dumpster without her head. Come on, Cherry Bomb. Think. I think plenty, Shane. I'm getting a PH freaking D from UW in neuroprosthetics studying under Ogemans. And how am I paying for it? Bartending. Tips. There are faster ways for a Baron's girl to earn that kind of scratch, but I'm not taking them. So what do you want from me? I want what you want. A better life. A better world for everyone. The Universal Brotherhood can give you that. I've heard this all before. This isn't some trick to get us back together. Things are different now. I'm different now. The Brotherhood... Cherry Bomb's pretty face is hard, armored in lipstick and low expectations. The Universal Brotherhood is for other people, Shane. Rich Bellevue types who can afford their membership fees and voluntary donations. This isn't about money. It's about binding the world together in brotherhood. Come with me. Attend a discovery meeting. Get to the core of who you are. I heard Lynn Telestrian give a talk last night. The new family of the Sixth World. I got a family right here, Shane. They're drunks and lowlifes and whores, and I choose them over any of your Brotherhood members. Now buzz. I need to get back to work. With body language that leaves no question that the conversation is over, Cherry Bomb turns her back on him. Sorry, I got interrupted. Boyfriend find religion? Her eyes narrow. Something like that. You got a look that says you're not just here for the entertainment. You a badge? I think you know the answer to that. She regards you with a smirk. I do. You're independent. We're trained to spot a bronze the minute they walk in here. Something I can help you with? I have a few questions. Ask away. Guy mentioned Coyote. She here? She looks worried. No, I think she's away on business. Business, huh? Is she a shaman? With a name like Coyote, she laughed. No, she shot a coyote once, thinking it was a shaman who double-crossed her. We've been calling her Coyote ever since. She's been missing for a couple of days now. Some people think the Ripper got her, but I know her. Coyote can take care of herself. Let's see. Tell me about this place. Some come here for booze, some for companionship. Others are looking for something they can't get anywhere else. If it's illegal or immoral, and it can be bought, sold, rented, or consumed, you can probably find it here. The union seems to attract people like you. Who was that you were talking to? Shane, old boyfriend. He used to work here. Then one day he saw a billboard for the Universal Brotherhood, and that was that. Went to a meeting, made new friends, moved in with them. I was happy for him until he started coming around trying to recruit me. I don't need that direct. Ever hear the name Sam Watts? She nods. Sam was a regular customer and a regular pain in the ass for as long as I've been here. Talked a big game, but he was always broke. As soon as he got any money in his pocket, it went straight to his head. Chips, drugs, or booze. Coyote had a soft spot for him, though. Did you see Sam on the night he died? No, that was Coyote's shift. Who runs this place? I want to talk to him. That'd be Mrs. Kubota. She's in the back room. You can't miss her. Thanks for the intel. Appreciate the help. Gutter punks have to stick together. Yep. Alright, Messerman, we'll talk to him in a minute. That's not how Coyote does it. I always did like that. Sweeten the deal. Your reps don't merit it. Your gin. The Asian woman's expression reads, open for business, but her demeanor reads, dealer rather than companion. She has a jack in her neck, a gun on her hip, and a chip on her shoulder. She eyes you with a sneer. You look like you could use some firepower. Something simple. I got guns so smart they practically fire themselves. You looking for tech? Got some of that too, if that's the way you roll. Let's just see what she's carrying right now. I got 1240 Nuyen. View stash, sell items. Equipment. I just got a Fischetti security. Pistol. No shotgun that I can see. So let's pick up a street sweeper. Grenades, med kits, and drone repair kits. Okay, fine. We'll just pick up a street sweeper. Confirm. And there it is right here. That comes in very handy and well better. Okay, and we'll confirm that. Right. Now let's go talk to our this troll over here, Mr. Cluey. Posted at the doorway to the VIP section is a tower of troll muscle wrapped in an impossibly tailored suit. Whether the product of good genes or expensive aftermarket cosmetic work, the troll's gleaming horns perfectly frame his face, and his polished tucks and goatee accentuate the set of a lantern jaw. Welcome. Please behave yourself. Heh. Funny place for the architect to put a wall. Load bearing, too. You have business here? I was a friend of Sam Watts. Know him? Sure, everyone here knew Sam. Shame to lose part of the family. There is a sharpness in Cluey's eyes, the look of a man who's seen much and earned wisdom at a young age. I figured Sam was the type who needed to be thrown out on occasion. Encouraged to call it a night, I'd say. Sam was a drunk, but he usually wasn't a violent one. Usually? What about the night he died? He was a bit agitated. I didn't catch the specifics. Might have been over a woman. Thought I was going to have to show him out, but I had to deal with a couple of rival go-gangers posturing for one of the working girls upstairs. Jake helped Sam out instead. Appreciate you talking with me. Happy to help. Alright, let's see. Johnny Clean. The man is dressed like a janitor, but is wearing unusually clean overalls. He's tall, rail thin, and has a cunning look in his eye that says he's more than just a maintenance man. Howdy. Name's Johnny Clean. You new? Yep, first time. Just getting a look at the place. Well, enjoy yourself. This looks like your type of place. I'm just sweeping up a bit. I don't think I ever talked to Noog. But Mrs. Kubota. Yeah. Mrs. Kubota watches you across the room, sizing you up as you approach. As you get closer, you can see that she's of mixed race, African and Japanese. Her demeanor says, "This is my house, mess with it at your peril," but her eyes twinkle with a playful light when she speaks. "Konbanwa, good evening." "My, but aren't you the pretty elf? Are you enjoying the Seamstresses' Union? There should be plenty for a woman like you to enjoy." She eyes you closely. "Or is this business?" "I need a moment of your time. I have topics." "Soka, and why should I help you?" "Jake sent me." "I am glad to hear that Jake Armitage is alive. Again. He lives an interesting life. Very well. If Jake sent you to me, I will help you." "What do you want to know?" "How well did you know Sam?" "I knew him. We all did. Sam was a regular here, wherever he could beg or borrow enough duion to become altered in some way. Drugs, chips, alcohol, it didn't matter to Sam. As long as he was bent, he was always looking for his next fix. He clung to this place like it was his lifeline, and we treated him as part of the family, even if none of us truly liked him, except Coyote." "Did you see Sam on the night of his death?" "He was here, quite inebriated, as he often was. Coyote was working bar that night, and she informed me that Sam was getting rowdy and belligerent with other customers. When I requested he leave, he refused. My bouncer, Mr. Cluey, was off dealing with another issue, so I requested that Jake escort Sam out the back door to the alley. That was the last I saw of either of them." "Why is this place called the Seamstresses' Union?" "During the gold rush years, there was a census, and the politicians wanted as high a number as possible to gain power and revenue. To bolster their numbers, they decided to include all the working girls, of which there were many, to the rolls. However, given the times, they could not list the girls' true occupation, so they entered them all as seamstresses. When a girl accumulated enough money to open her own place of business, she named it the Seamstresses' Union, so potential workers would know that they would be treated fairly there, and thus a rich tradition was born." "So you're a former seamstress?" "No. Perhaps when we know each other more, I will reveal more about myself. For now, enjoy the Union." "One more question. Can you tell me where to find Coyote?" Her face darkens. "Would that I could. I have not seen her in 2 days. She is a smart woman, and quite dangerous, but I fear for her." "If she's smart, why fear for her?" "Because she is in a dangerous line of work, and there is always someone smarter, more prepared. Her room is upstairs. If you are looking for her, I invite you to examine it. You may be able to uncover her whereabouts. I would not normally betray her privacy in this way, but she's missed 2 shifts now, and cannot be reached on her comm. It is unlike her. If something has happened, I will not have inaction on my conscience. Here is the key." Alright. Transitioning to upstairs. Alright. Looks like Coyote keeps her clothes in boxes on the floor. Okay. Stands littered with action movies and cigarette butts. Framed painting of the Chicago skyline done in stylized silhouette. Coyote's bed has a diary with several papers sticking out of it. Open the diary to the first paper. There is a receipt stuck between the pages and a diary entry. Inspect the receipt. A receipt for a Browning max power pistol from Gin Park downstairs with a note saying how big guns on hot women turn her on. Read the empty diary. Read the diary entry. Silly me. I came back from my shift to find all 4 of Paco's goons sleeping on our apartment floor. It's getting fragging ridiculous. I want to be with him, with the real Paco, but this Cutter dreck keeps messing everything up. I love him, but he's totally different with the gang. It's how I make cash, baby, he always says. I try to tell him he doesn't need the cash. I can support us both with what I make at the Seamstresses Union. But he still goes on these runs. With these bozos all over my floor, I feel like he's just seeing how far he can push me before I kick him out. I try to be patient, but why does it have to be all one way? As soon as the last Cutter was out the door, I lost it. I told him if he ever pulled Drek like that again, that he would be sleeping in the alley. Of course, he begged and pleaded with me, telling me it wouldn't happen again. I don't want to deal with this anymore, but I don't want him to leave. He's the reason I got through all that stuff last year. Got my bartending license, got this apartment, and this life. I know he cares about me and loves me, more than his involvement with the Cutter. I just wish I could slice out that gang from our life together. Slice out the fear that comes along with it. Different page. Second paper. Handwritten poem on it and a diary entry. Read the diary entry. Sometimes it seems like Paco reads my mind. Or my diary. Maybe he does the latter. I wouldn't be surprised. Hi, Paco! Ever since last week, he hasn't mentioned the Cutters once. He leaves the apartment with a "see you in a few hours, babe," and returns later without comment. I don't know if it's really going to help for us to avoid the subject in conversation completely, but I have felt better without our constant arguing about it. The last 2 nights, I've come home from work to Paco waiting up for me, slouching on the old dumpster couch with a novel 4 inches from his face. I imagine that as I turn the key in the door, he perks up and makes himself look especially studious for when I get the door open. He seems superficially surprised to see me, but I love this little act. Read the poem. Let's just say that Paco should stick to guns and motorcycles and leave the poetry to others. Different page. Third paper. Receipt and an old photograph. Inspect the receipt. A COD receipt for a special order. 5 pounds of zebra meat from Maury's Meat Emporium, located near Pike Place Market. Picture. Picture shows a young girl with caramel skin and dark brown hair. She has a snake wrapped around her arm, and she is smiling. The back of the photograph has "Shadow" scrawled on it. Open the diary to the fourth paper. A receipt for a wall safe installed near the bathroom door, set to a combination of 342436. 342436. Okay then. So then let's go over here and look at the safe. Input the code found in Coyote's diary. Safe beeps cheerfully in response and the door comes open. Now let's take what we can get here. Stash. Okay, now, for those of you following along at home, there was a reason that we went through all of that, and it's going to become clear when we try and access this right here. Coyote's computer is ancient, probably fished it out of a junkyard. It doesn't even have a data jack, and the cracked display is covered with fingerprints. Tapping on the keyboard causes the dust-caked fans to spin up, only to display on-screen password. Without the password, the only other option on screen is a password recovery option. So, see, if we were playing as a decker right here, we could actually use our decking skills, excuse me, to go ahead and crack into the computer the old-fashioned way. But right now, we're just going to have to select password recovery. Please answer 3 security questions to reset password. Question 1. Your first childhood pet. So, bunch of options here. So, Paco we know is the boyfriend. Obviously, he's not the pet. Although there can be arguments made both ways on that, but we'll leave it alone for now. Fido. With a name like Coyote, Fido doesn't seem like the kind of pet name she would use. Shadow. That was in the picture that we found in the third diary entry. Teddy. Somehow, again, with a name like Coyote, Teddy doesn't seem like the kind of pet name she would go with. Same with Fluffy and George. Shadow. Alright. Question 2. Your favorite musical act. Now, the game does something, I think, here, and it randomizes the right answer. Let's pick this one and see if this is going. Question 3. What is the name of your hometown? Again, looking at the stuff, the Chicago picture right there would tell me to say Chicago. Answer stored. Incorrect. Alright. So, Shadow, Starfire, Chicago. Ah, there we go. Your password has been reset to blah blah blah. For security, never write down your password, logging you in. Hooray, everybody. Alright. Calendar first. 3 days ago, meet with Delilah about gig. Today, meet Paco for date at Pike Place Market. Due in 30 minutes. Okay. Contacts then. Coyote's contact list has exactly one entry. Someone named Paco. There is no comlink number or other contact information for him available. This does not seem like a very useful list of contacts. Access history. A quick scan of a recent search shows that Coyote has been reading a great deal about hellhounds. It also suggests more than a casual interest in vintage action figures. Okay then. With that being said, I don't think I ever went in here to see what was that. Stop it. There is nothing there to see. Okay then. Transition downstairs. And we will go talk to Mrs. Kubota. How can I help you? You know Paco? He's a ganger, a member of the Cutters. He is a good kid in a nasty line of work. I warned Coyote against getting too attached to that type. They don't live long. Have you heard of Maury's Meat Emporium? No, I am a vegetarian. Did you know Jen sold Coyote a gun? I'd be more surprised if she hadn't. Bouncers can deal with most of the troublemakers, but around here you need a gun just to take trash out to the dumpster. Coyote has a date with Paco at Pike Place Market in the next half hour. If you would go down there, it might bring me peace of mind. I'll call a cab for you. It should be able to get you there in time. Gambate kudasai. Good luck. What could go wrong? Never ask that question. Take a cab to the Pike Place Market? Confirm. You catch a cab from Touristville to Pike Place Market, an immersively quiet ride that takes you from probably going to be mugged to probably going to pay too much for your drinks. Compared to the urban wasteland of the Barrens, the downtown area is filled with modern buildings, lighted streets, and unbarred shops, all living beneath the shadows of massive corporate arcologies. For many, these arcologies are home. For others, they are hulking monuments to where the world went wrong. Famous for its fishmongers, Pike Place Market has been around since the early 1900s, overlooking the bay. Now, it's a market for all things, legal and illegal, a melting pot of the haves and have-nots. Even though most of the shops are closed, the sights, sounds, and smells of the market hit you from the moment you step out of the cab. Okay. And friends, I think this is as good a time as any. Let's spend our karma first, and then we will save. And I think this will be a good place to stop for right this minute, and then we can resume when I pick this back up in a little bit. Let's see. We got 3. Yeah. Nothing can be done there. Okay, so let's... Let's increase our ranged combat here. Take that, and that gives us an ability to have a 3rd weapon equipped, which will be really handy. Confirm. Okay, now we will save. And this should show as Pike Place Market. Now, we will come here and say, exit to main menu. Yep, I just quit, we just saved. And now we're back here. Okay, so, hopefully, everybody has gotten at least a taste of how this game works, and are interested to see what's going to happen with Coyote, where will we find her, and what will she be up to, and what happens with Paco, and how does this all relate to Sam. So, tune in next time as our one-man Scooby or one-elf Scooby gang continues her detective work. So, with that, friends, be well, and hope you have a great weekend. And we will talk more either somewhere here on Twitch if I can jump into your streams, or you might find me on Twitter. I will hopefully have my channel updated a little bit better so that I can have contact information, and you can find me in social stuff, Discord, Twitter, and all that good stuff in a little bit. But anyway, thanks for following along, and have a good night.